Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back to Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. We're back at the menu because I relaunched, and as I was looking at the more traditional LucasArts logo, uh, there's a real sadness behind that, in that the reality behind the original LucasArts logo showing up in this game is really more just an admittance that LucasArts at that point had given up completely as far as making video games, so there was no longer a interest in collecting or creating new logos. I'm still not really sure if each of these icons in the lower left hand corner here are supposed to be an indication that you actually found a treasure in that chapter or not. If anything, it seems very much like by the time we were at Prague, we were being given items randomly as far as just completing each chapter. Yeah. But see, particularly in this Ceylon, it seems like a lot of the paper elements, like here, that feels like that's repeated to imply that I missed something, where the other things are more 3D, and this feels like it's repeated to imply I missed something, which maybe I did, or maybe it's more of a case. This is not turning very fast, is it? Maybe it's just a case that a different team made that first level, or maybe it's a case where you don't have to actually find a item that's collectible in every chapter as much as maybe sometimes you just need to defeat all the enemies in a chapter. That doesn't make a lot of sense though, really, because I think I pretty much would have defeated all the enemies in every chapter except for that one section where it was infinitely spawning enemies. Now we're doing something slightly different in that we are collecting multiple coins. We kind of know where the coins already are, and I can have this spear gun equipped as I jump into the water. So I imagine the idea here is that you're going to get in and out of the water a lot of times. Maybe we're fairly safe. And the question is going to come down to, we need to find a platform that is right on the surface. Indiana Jones seems to have no ability to pull himself upward at all. So there's probably just this section here. And there was a shark, obviously. I think there would have been room to say fresh water, or when you get into this water level, point out that this is all seawater. You can see there's something glowing in that direction, but I don't think we're quite to that point yet. Oh, nope. I'm not in trouble now. It's quite the animation. Come on, come on, come on, come on. He's just gonna come around and grab me again if I'm not careful. And then we have the perpetually winded Indiana Jones. And then I guess we're getting on this side. And then I guess we are walking around. I don't see why I would want to walk around here, though. Like, even if I could jump sideways, that wouldn't really get me anywhere. I guess it gets me here. So I nearly fell back in the water. It does seem like you could grab a ledge here, but it seems like you would have to be exactly at the right height. You go too far and then you're hitting it. So either I'm supposed to make a somewhat awkward run and jump one way or the other. It would kind of seem like it would make more sense that you were running and jumping this way than that way, but I also wouldn't be surprised if you have to work your way around all of this. Let's go this way. Let's see what that does. And these sharks are just really, really close and really, really willing to attack you the second you hit in the water as a penalty. And it feels to me like they've been programmed to really only attack you once. Is there any reason to do any of this though? That's the weird part about this, is that if anything it would seem like you just are supposed to go that direction and that this whole section here is unnecessary, but then they put this very obvious rope swing. Yeah. And it seems like it would be safer to do that than anything else. Let's see if we can run and jump and maybe grab the ledge when we're in more momentous movement. I think I may have gotten lucky there. It really is a case where your smoother transition, it feels like you would have a smoother transition through a lot of these areas in a more modern game, and you wouldn't have the slightly clunky, it's not even particularly that clunky, but it's just slightly clunky enough controls here that you're kind of failing on some of these jumps. Although, in all fairness, at a certain point you get into a level of improvement on later games that have 3D platforming, to the point where they've made it so easy that if you're anywhere close to a jump, it will just move you mid-air to line up with the jump. Like a very modern game very possibly would have you jump from this point, and even if you were slightly off or fairly far off in that direction, it would just adjust you and light there. And that they'll do it in their very best way so it doesn't seem obvious. But see, there is something up here. And I do believe that is the coin, one of the coins that we need to collect. Now what would be cool, I guess, is if you had the spear gun ability to recover spears, because that would definitely solve an issue. I barely made that. That would definitely solve an issue as far as did something fall down to make it easier to get back up here? It doesn't seem like it. If anything, it feels like I can't jump back the way I came. Is it really necessary to have two guys? We have the one coin. We have some spear gun ammo. And we have a guy who's crushed. And I guess the idea was that that guy was crushed on this path, and that theoretically that path would have been open. And that would explain where these other guys came from. Alright, let's just see. If we jump here, can we make that? Yes. Then what? I'm not going to grab that ledge. You definitely need a dedicated button to refill health. I can't tell if I'm going to end up in the water by getting off this ledge or not. I think we jump, and that'll save us some fall damage. Possibly a little bit of fall damage, maybe not as much as we would like. Alright, we now have a spear gun, which I potentially could use. I guess we should try the spear gun on a person and see how many shots it takes. It takes 3 shots to use a spear gun to kill a shark. Well, I guess you just jump here. It doesn't seem like there's another option. And see, that is an example of where the game helped me, and it has made it in a very obvious way obvious that it is helping me with those jumps. I don't get the full inconsistency between holding the B button when whipping versus having to run and jump. Seems like one or the other should be the only possibility.
Boom, boom.
In case you don't know what it is, I guess. So I have a grenade. I see a shark. Let's throw it in the water and see if that does anything. It does explode in the water. So I guess if I could see where the shark would be, I may have actually killed the shark. Interesting. So let's just look in the rest of the water and see if there's any other sharks to concern yourself with. That sets up a somewhat dangerous precedent that we're going to end up I don't know where that flat landed. Let's try and see if some of those smaller fish could be blown up. But we've already seen...
Boom.
Last grenade here. Repetitive lines of dialogue. We've already seen that these grenades don't break those doors. So that's about as close as you could get. And you'd have to be pretty good at throwing to... or pretty lenient in general to justify every shot. If that really was the solution, that would have been a bad solution. And these sharks are just upside down now. And it looks to me like there is a lot of kind of well lit interesting. Why can I not pick up the med kit? I wonder if I have too many med kits already. Ooh, I am about to die. It probably is a very big testament to the lack of listening ability that game developers have. Or more likely, it's a case that publishers just don't listen to feedback from game players and game developers. In the sense that nobody has ever sung the praises of water levels. At best, they have been tolerated from, like, Ocarina of Time in one small water level. And yet, we are consistently seeing games with water levels as if somebody is trying to win an argument or prove that they can make the one game with a water level that is good. And it's just never going to happen. And they really need to stop trying to make it happen. I think the good news there is that a large amount of people and game developers have given up on the idea of having water levels, but you still see an occasional person doing it. I don't know what the benefit is around them. Alright. We seem to be full on medkit, so let's go ahead and use one and pick up another medkit. And we have knives here, but knives don't turn into spears. But then we do have spear gun ammo, so it does seem like spear gun ammo is potentially Yeah. So the spear gun is the gun to use, even if it is as bad as other guns are. Let's not go this way yet, since we know it's going to a bigger section. I guess the thought, and this probably is pretty dumb thought by modern standards, is that they were trying to show off water technology and visual depictions of water, which at a certain point I guess that would have been something. I hope this is far enough away. That explosion severely dampened. So now we have the seahorse coin. And then the audio just goes quiet. Interesting. Yeah. Water physics as far as having water naturally flow, and water rendering as far as having reflections and ripples in video games. And to say that that's a solved issue is probably a false statement to a certain extent. I think there's probably still a lot of games that do a pretty poor job of depicting water, both visually and using the water physics. But I would say it's more than likely something that's just not going to get improved on much more. And it still doesn't really get to the core of the issue, which is, at the core, water levels are just not fun. They really have never been. So I'm just hoping in this corner is safe enough. I would say this level is probably more interesting if we drained the water at some point. Let's check the map. Okay, we got the wine coin. Looks like we're about to get the trident coin. And then the kraken coin is probably the last one. And trident coin sounds like something that would require a fight. But maybe not. These are very, very large coins, stretching the definition of what you would call a coin more than you would call a plate or dish. I wonder if there's a difference between a plate or a dish, really. I guess dishes are probably more generic, where a plate is thought to be always a flatter serving tray, individualized serving tray, where, yeah, people would call cups still part of the dishes. A lot of times in games, the most minimal of improvements can make major changes as far as how a game feels. I definitely have the feeling that this game would be a little bit better if they gave me 25% more movement speed. Or if they scaled down the world by 25%. Either one of those would, I think, work fairly well. Because each of these levels do have a real length problem of just being too long. It'd be worth it to try and take out a shark, even if it was in the water. I don't know if I can actually shoot the sharks from the surface to the water. It would be interesting to have more of an explanation or focus around those underwater lighting lanterns. I feel like those should be potentially like glowfish of some sort. Well, it seems like I could just work my way around. Yeah, what technology is this? This is another area where you're designed to fall to the lower area, and then you have to figure out how to escape. It's a little odd you can't walk on top of this rock. There's no shark over in this section, it seems, because if there was, I would have run into it by now. But weirdly, it doesn't seem like there's a obvious place where you can climb up. If anything, it seems like the idea would be that you could climb up this point. This can't possibly be what they would really want you to do. And the Indiana Jones music is getting really annoying at this level. Yeah, obviously this is where they meant for you to climb back up. And then you jump up to that point, pushing you back to this point. And then swing to jump up there. Running and jumping this way. We've got a guy here where either I can blow him up and die alongside him, or I can try the headlock punch. You would think a headlock punch they seem to instantly drown as soon as they hit the ground. Yep. It would make a lot of sense, though, to why can I? Since when can I hold grenades in my inventory? So you can hold one in your hand and two in your inventory. Well, that's helpful to know. I wish I'd known that a while ago. It doesn't feel like the spear gun locks on to people particularly well. And just, man, either you get audio or you get heavy breathing. You get no options in between. And in that case, throwing the explosive didn't seem like it really helped me. And then the other guy threw an explosive at me, which I assume that is fairly scripted. And I just noticed over there we have a chest that we're going to have to figure out. Either this is more grenades.
Oh.
It is. But there's just nothing to blow up. The hand grenades, these German style hand grenades, that's what these are, by the way. They don't look anything like the American style hand grenades you would expect to see in modern games. It just disappeared from my hands. Aw, seriously? Back to square one. Was that because I was holding a grenade and needed both hands? Probably not. Probably had a lot more to do with I just slightly missed the jump. Even in a relatively small room like this, it would make a lot of sense to potentially have a shortcut, a ladder, something that you could knock down. Like, right about here would be the perfect point to have a ladder that you just press the X button and then it lowers the ladder and then you can climb back. And then you would just have to redo this one jump and then retry this jump, which worked that time. We're still taking fall damage every time we exuberantly fall downward. Here we have a nice entrance to the temple, although it still feels a lot like the Last Crusade. And let's see. I'll just get our spear gun ready.
I'll try not to blow myself up.
Oops. Apparently I can't put the grenade up, so somehow I think I magically got a third one into my inventory when I wasn't supposed to be able to get a third one into my inventory. We could look here and see if we spot any shark. Doesn't look like there's a lot of places where a shark could be. Does look like there might be an underwater section we have to engage with first. So yeah, the grenade disappears, then it reappears to the hand when you jump. is a 5-eyed octopus with, let's see, how many hands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So not really an octopus. 5 eyes, 6 arms. Seahorse. Lady. And the trident. Is the lady drinking, pouring wine? Yes, she is. Okay. So we have a puzzle here. It is not a very interesting puzzle.
Oh.
Pull out the wine coin while standing here. B didn't do anything. X didn't work the first time. It did work the second time. These feel like plugs that are going to potentially stop water from flowing downward. And we're going to turn the valves to potentially fill them, fill up these columns with the things. It looks kind of like there's ladders up there. Not sure I can actually pick up this grenade now, where it is. I'd have to face the other direction. Okay. One more to collect. Oh, there is a shark. So, nothing here in that doorway. Nothing in this doorway. A lot of clipping through the edges. Nothing in that doorway. So, let's go back up. I have enough spears to kill one more shark if it decided to spawn another shark. So there's either something in here that I'm missing, or I was supposed to have collected another coin in another location. Yep. It was very simplistically just in the middle. I guess if you were paying a lot of attention to the map, you would have known that. But I wasn't paying that much attention to the map. So you were supposed to just jump down here, go down to the bottom of the ocean, get that last Kraken coin. So when I'm at this inventory, I do have 3 of 2 grenades. Interesting. Let's line up the camera perfectly so the X button actually works. Tapping X button quite a lot here. Maybe it would help if I put it in the right spot. Yep. Now, let's turn this. So those aren't alcoves or anything. Those are fountains. And they do fill up with water. So same thing here. Would have been more exciting if there was a single dial in the middle. We could see that just a little bit of water was leaking out of the front of them, which would imply that you did something wrong when you really didn't. Yeah, one lever in the middle, right about here, wouldn't have made a lot of sense, and it would have encouraged the player to pull the lever before going any further and see the fail condition, which is content that you might want to show off in a game to maybe stretch it out a little bit longer, or just not waste the animator's efforts. I am guessing any amount of challenges could be behind this door as far as a boss fight. So let's go with the SMG since we've basically been saving that ammo up. That's kind of crazy that it's been like 40 minutes to get to this point. Really haven't done a lot. It doesn't feel like we've done a lot. So I thought we'd find something to get the Trident coin, and that there would be a break in the platforming and the hidden object gameplay. Now we see a statue of Poseidon with a trident.
There's something underneath that floor. If you carefully placed charges to trigger the trick.
There's always a speech that needs to be made around Indiana Jones, in that he is absolutely the worst archaeologist in the world. And somewhat disconnected, he is also the worst scientist in the world in general, because he doesn't really protect artifacts very often. He doesn't really collect artifacts very often. He is very much doing a copy of like the British Museum colonialism, where he is stealing artifacts from one culture and taking it to Barnet College in the United States in a lot of cases, just like looting lands and plundering, but on top of him being just a generally bad archaeologist because he's looting, he also sees pretty definitive evidence of a higher power, a god, and in particular the like Judeo-Christian god. Why is that not working? Do I have to somehow stop a lot of flowing first? He sees that in the Ark of the Covenant. He sees it in the Cup of Christ in the Last Crusade. He sees evidence of an Shiva, Indian god, in Temple of Doom. He should be screaming left and right as a scientist, and maybe this would lose all his credibility, certainly, but it really should be happening. That he has seen supernatural things, and that these supernatural things need to be investigated more. And yet, by the end of the movies, he seems to just go back to his college life and report basically nothing of what he saw to anyone. Okay. So I guess you had to start by taking out these guys. The thing we had seen with these guys before is that They weren't even walking last time I interacted with them. Like, there's nothing over here. Okay. All of that was an important rant to go on, certainly as we are about to blow this up. Now, in all fairness, I guess it makes for a dull movie if Indiana Jones doesn't collect the artifacts, which is basically the MacGuffin that he's looking to collect and get. This isn't where we came in from. So I can't fully blame Indiana Jones or Steven Spielberg for not having him plunder a few things. This feels like this is a completely separate puzzle. We have one area that's not lit, so it looks different. Then we have gears. It doesn't seem like you can jump over there. Alright, let's see what this does. So much for the revolver as a gun. And here you have another monster closet. Very much feels like it is just back and forth gameplay. Do a little bit of puzzle platforming, do a little bit of shooting. I guess if I am going to criticize, I probably should think of a way that you would potentially placing the explosive charges on this leg. I hope I'm not getting stuck. Apparently not. Only one leg. I guess what you would do, just off the top of my head, is I would say you don't want Indiana Jones to break the statue, somebody has to break the statue. Let's have the bad guys break the statue instead. Have a cutscene where you see the bad guys going, this will stop them. Or even in game you see them placing the charges and then setting them off as a way of potentially trying to block your path. And then they would just fail miserably at that idea, and instead of blocking your path, they would actually open up a secondary path that the game always intended you to take. then you have the opportunity to make the bad guys seem more like bad guys who have no respect for history and are just plundering, and make Indiana Jones seem like the good guy. That's a cool swing, certainly. You don't get a nice fly around to show off the statue, though. There's room for some improvement in that visual depiction. And I assume if I just fell down there, I'd have to start all over again. They're not going very detailed on the buttocks or any genitalia. What's my escape plan? Always have an escape plan before placing explosives. Mine is to swing this way and hope that's safe enough. Now there is a slight problem of something magically breaking when it wasn't obvious that it would break. That has been happening a lot in this game, certainly. But it does introduce potential confusion as far as the players should know what the next step is before that happens. Although breaking did point to the next step, which then pointed to this whole area where we're back to climbing on vines, which we haven't done that in probably 3 or 4 hours.
Now I just need to give it a push in the right place.
And I guess the idea is we're going to just push it, or I would have thought maybe having you swing on it would have been the right move. Let's see, if I was to go here, I hope I don't fall down, but I guess it doesn't really matter too much as long as I don't die. That takes me to this spot. Is there anything at this spot to do? Nope. So obviously I'd like the game to be a little bit more consistent as far as ledges go. It's kind of ridiculous to have locations with nothing there. Obviously this game could have had more collectibles though, just a little bit more health, a little bit of ammo, stuff like that. From the looks of this, I'm either swinging and hitting him in the back of the head while swinging, or I'm grabbing him with the rope. So you just destroyed a priceless statue and a mosaic tile. Now looking at the load screen, which showed me a kraken, I assume I'm fighting a kraken. Let me ask some basic question here. Could I pull up hand grenades? No, I've lost my hand grenades somewhere. Can I get up on that platform? No. He seems to be shooting a bunch of jellyfish at me. Target specific areas, press and hold the C button to go into first person mode. Interesting, they're also giving me an oxygen tank, as if I don't have one. Let's see if this works. The problem with this, of course, is I have to target with my my right thumb, and then press B with my nope. I have 298 shots. That's a lot. That's a lot of spear ammo, considering we've only had 6 or 7 shots before. I guess the question is there any better angle to take this guy on? Doesn't seem like it. Let's just... I don't think any of this is hitting him. Let's look around. There's a med kit if necessary. These jellyfish don't feel like they're hurting me. Let's get out of the water for a second and see. Yeah, we're at absolute full health. We have a super spear gun. So it's basically the golden gun. We do have explosives. As far as jellyfish go. I see 4 places that I'm supposed to blow up from the looks of it. And yet, I don't see a way to really pull this off. I guess maybe these jellyfish stop you from surfacing, which could eventually have you run out of oxygen. Let's try to dim our charges. See if we can figure out a place where we can place them. Oh no. So instant death. So, yeah. Weirdly, we had an instant death there. We did manage to place a demo charge. We're at 300 shots now. We do have 3 grenades. We can try that. Yeah, that was fairly close to him. And still didn't do anything. My thought here is that we're supposed to get to a prompt. And then swim as much as we can away. Take another charge. So it seems like we blew one side up, but that seems like that's not enough. See, it's weird that you just get like these pushbacks there. Like weird that this is supposedly the right way to do this, and yet everything you would expect is telling you, no, that isn't the right way to do this. It doesn't matter if these guys don't actively hurt you, if they're refilling, reducing your oxygen. Try this again. Deep jump. Maybe there's a trick here where we need to shoot with the super spear gun first to kind of clear. Yeah, I think you gotta shoot, and then when you get close, then you press the button. Thus, the idea of having infinite oxygen. But the targeting mode element just doesn't really seem like it is playing a role here. And the oxygen is playing far too much of a role. There we go. If I can just place that and then swim anywhere away. Where am I? Did I die? It looks like I died, but the game's not saying that. I am dying now. Like, because I'm inside of him? Was I supposed to shoot my way out of there? When he ate me? So compared to the two previous boss battles, we're having a very different experience here.
Whoa, whoa.
Maybe the trick is to go down so he can't shoot. This is all just so awkward. Like, the controls are awkward, the shooting is awkward. Shooting in the big glowing eyes, which would make a lot of sense, doesn't seem to really do anything. Spent too much time in the water, and now they're dragging me down. So even if I was to get somewhere here, I'd have to use a med kit at least. Which that's fine, I guess. If I can just stop these guys from attacking me. And I wonder if I really have to avoid the explosions in any way. Let's go with the med kit to heal. Back to the super spear gun. Seems like I had the prompt there and missed it. Ideally, what you would want to do is have a checkpoint after doing 2 of those. And we can't save scum or anything like that, so I can't make a save point myself. So I can only really get myself in such a good a position. This is about as good of a position as I think you can be in. Just have the explosive charge ready to go, run and jump and swim. Maybe go higher. Come on. That was an instant death. So what am I just not getting here? Why am I getting halfway through the level Like, is it perhaps that I'm supposed to take out several cycles of these? Doesn't feel like it. Is it that I'm supposed to hit something multiple times? The problem with that idea is that I just burned through 120 shots and that accomplished nothing. If I had, say, come over am I glitching the game to get this far? I'm right next to it. But I mean, what else can I do? Like, you get any closer and he eats you. Camera says I'm here, but I can't target anything. And I'm about to run out of energy, so unless I'm supposed to place a explosive charge or maybe even throw a grenade. I don't think I'm supposed to throw a grenade. I don't even have a grenade. Yeah, the game is just glitching as far as that segment. I'm supposed to instantly die there and not be able to shoot. Okay. If we could combine the explosive charge with the spear gun, that might be interesting. This game is just not programmed well enough, though. Like, I can shoot from the surface to water for that. But to get over there and potentially jump to where I would need to place the charge just doesn't feel accurate. Maybe if we come around a little bit more to the edges, we might be able to get it better, but unless I'm supposed to just surface swim. Yeah, I don't understand what the trick here is. Let's go with the super spear gun. And then I'm just mashing the X button as much as possible, I mean A button, Alright. Let me look up the answer, because I am willing to cheat now. Kraken, Emperor's Tomb, Indy. And we'll just wait on this section, because nothing here makes sense. It feels like everything up until this point has been very easy as far as figuring out at least what to do. Some of the boss fights have been a little resetty, and it's taken us 2 or 3 tries to get to them, but never had this point. The Kraken is one of the tougher bosses in the game. If you don't know what you're doing, the general rule is to take your time. Don't rush when you don't have to. Anyway, the level starts out immediately. Swim to the left to the room and climb onto land. Pick up the super spear gun, 2 demolition charge, the oxygen tank, and some ammo. Drop back in the water. The Kraken attacks indirectly by getting his jellyfish minions to latch onto you and pull you in. The more jellyfish grab onto you, the more easily you get pulled in. If they pull you in enough, the Kraken will eat you. Don't let them get close enough to stick themselves on you. By holding the right trigger while facing the Kraken, you'll target the jellyfish automatically. That's not what's happening here on the PC version. When there isn't a pressing threat of jellyfish, focus your spear gun fire on the Kraken himself. Shoot at the orange-red eyes that form a ring around the mouth. If you hurt a couple of them at once, Kraken will retreat. Use this time to act. Go up to one of the full pillars. After destroying 2 pillars, climb back out of the water where you got the first charges to get 2 more. If you need ammo, there's some extra bullets on the pillars to the left and right underwater. All in all, be sure to keep an eye on your air, your ammo, and nearby jellyfishes at all time. Make the easier top priority, and planting charges your second priority. If you neglect any of these, you'll be put in a situation that can only lead to death. I agree with at least that bottom part. Alright. So there's only one button called right trigger on a controller, so if these controls are the same controls, which they basically should be, let's see, I would say they are not. We'll climb up here, grab another one of these, we will select the super spear gun, and I guess now that since we know what to do, mostly what I'm trying to do here is go into this mode and go in circles and try and hit a couple of them. Now this is incredibly awkward. Incredibly awkward. The game just decided to push me away and give me a boost, which may be helpful, but maybe not as helpful as it could be. You need oxygen first. I want to just climb out of the water. And this is just unfair. A big problem here is that the game is not really giving me enough force when swimming. We're kind of low on bullets too. Go and grab that. So the biggest issue now that I've figured, I didn't figure anything out. I'm not going to take credit for that. That would be stupid. Now that I've looked up the solution, the only real question is to make sure we know which of the last columns we need to take out. So in general, I guess you just really don't have to be particularly accurate, which makes a lot of sense for a second generation, in my definition, 3D platforming game, that the shooting wouldn't really be that accurate. And the water drains, so what happens to all the jellyfish? Seemingly nothing. Why would stairs show up and panels open? Like, is the idea that this sunken city was designed to be sunken? Interesting that my hat is also just in front of me. We're gonna lose this super spear gun. And we have our perpetually winded Indiana Jones guy. We'll go ahead and pick up some spears, although almost certainly this is the end of the level, and then there's no need for it. It is very weird, once again, to be in the middle of Istanbul and collecting something for the Chinese Emperor's tomb. It makes a little bit more sense that maybe China's influence would go as far as Istanbul than it would, say, Prague. But I would say only a little bit more sense. And it's not like we can sell any extras that we may have. Yeah. And I definitely don't believe that this city was designed to be sunken, so everything else here, if this was supposed to be some kind of presentation hall, makes sense. And even some drainage sections make sense, but for the stairs to eject when the water is ejected is weird. And it doesn't seem like we're going anywhere else. I wouldn't be surprised if once again we get attacked by somebody who's going to take the item from us, or try to take the item from us.
That was most impressive, Dr. Jones.
Save it, sweetheart. I got what you want. Now tell me what's really going on here. Why didn't you warn me about the Nazis?
The man you know as Marshal Kai is not who he appears to be. Eddie Chan is not just an officer in the army, he's also the head of the Dragon Tribe, the most powerful criminal syndicate in China. He has formed a secret alliance with the Nazis to find the heart of the dragon.
So I'm guessing you're not his secretary.
I'm working undercover for the Chinese government to monitor the Dragon Tribe. I hope to sabotage Kai's for the heart for myself. But then your intrusion complicated matters.
How's that?
Once you beat him back to the first piece of the mirror, Kai saw his opportunity to double-cross the Nazis and keep the heart for himself.
He's as mad as the Nazis.
That's why we must enter the tomb and remove the heart before the Nazis get there.
Why should I trust you?
First of all,
She's animated quite a bit here.
Secondly,
Just a lot of movements.
you don't have anything I need.
Good point. Please tell me you have a plan.
There's a plane waiting to take us to Hong Kong, where we'll meet a smuggler.
You can definitely see in these animations
Sounds good to
a
me.
lot of
Let's go.
experimentation as far as doing different types of animations. Interesting, we're getting shown two new, I assume, triad ladies, and now we've got the loading sequence again that's not getting recorded. We're heading to China now. What does it say? Hong Kong, China? And this is straight out of the first scene of Temple of Doom. In a funny way, this might even directly connect to the first scene in Temple of Doom.
Have I mentioned how absolutely stunning you look in that dress?
It's the third time you've mentioned it, Dr. Jones. Let's stick to business, shall we?
So where's your smuggler friend?
Wuhan's helped me several times. He'll be here.
And he'll take us to Kai's fortress?
Yes. Where we'll find the mirror pieces and the parchung.
The what?
You'll need more than your gun once you're inside Jim's tomb. There are things worse than Nazis.
Wonderful.
If anything, I would say the Chinese lady on the right has been lovingly animated more than even Indiana Jones has.
Great timing. Thanks.
From the gentleman, balcony number 2, sir.
Enjoy the show, Dr. Jones.
So this looks like this is just going to be straight up a cutscene, and you're going to have repetitive, reused characters. Nope, this is a full-on fight. We're already going long today, but let's see this all the way through. We have no items other than our canteen. Let's see. And it seems to me like these guys are going to be heavy hitters. See if we can grab a chair and do some environmental damage. Do create a pretty big problem if all of a sudden Indiana Jones just is going to get his butt handed to him by karate people. Am I supposed to lose here, or what? I'm just not sure if this is supposed to be an infinite spawning enemies, or if I'm supposed to figure something out. Like, there's a whole switch here. We've got some table legs. It definitely feels just like the game is trying to encourage as much like environmental damage as possible and using of the environment. Which Indiana Jones is not exclusively what I would say is a barroom brawler. There are barroom brawl sequences, certainly, but I just don't think that's his expertise. And so now we're under the stage, which I assume you're supposed to go up this way and not jump on that elevator. There's nothing in here.
That's
Could try and knock these people out. But they're all just chasing me, though, so the entirety of this sequence was to just get to this point. In other ways, this kind of feels like where the game should have started, though. Like, I can't even keep the weapons in my hands. Am I supposed to just jump down? Or am I supposed to open this door? Why are they having me open doors? Come on. That like reset something. But I have no idea. You break the idea of the doors not working up until this point if all of a sudden you do have doors that can open, and there's just like no consistency as far as which doors open and which doors don't. Come on. What's supposed to happen? There is no door here. Clearly I'm supposed to jump off the edge here, and yet the game's not letting me. Wow, there's just a random collectible. I really don't imagine that people would beat this level, or this first chapter, the first try. Just isn't really believable. So I'm thinking we either go through here, or one of these didn't have any guardrails. Yeah, it doesn't. Then they opened that door after I defeated a certain number of them. So now I can run this way. But can you even really refill your health? I guess they left you alone long enough that you could pull that off. Full 360 circle level. I wonder if this is like a really short level too. Protect the master. You there, stop where you are. This guy is shooting a gun at me. Trying really hard to shoot him and it's not working. And every time we found some Mauser ammo. We got the Mauser back. I guess we're climbing on the other side. I could have sworn that the ninja girl was here. And yet she's not there now.
That's.
So what was the point of coming up to this side? I guess we're swinging across. There we go. Is there anything more to see up here? Not really. Wow, why did it just lower my health to half? That seems unfair. Whatever, we'll adjust for that. We'll pull out our gun. Now we have some stuff. We don't have our whip, though. And so, we're now in Hong Kong. The Golden Lotus Part 2, which makes me definitely suspect that there are probably only 2 parts. And that this is just a high action sequence, but in this high action sequence we also have been introduced to infinitely spawning enemies. It felt like, maybe I was wrong about that, but I'm not 100% sure. If it wasn't infinitely spawning enemies, it was way too many enemies and way too difficult of a fight. I definitely would have expected a lot less kung fu being used against Indiana Jones. Or him being able to take a punch a lot better. Particularly since we did just have a very difficult boss fight because of that one gimmick just not being as obvious as it should be. And what you really could have done to fix that would have been easy. You would have just had Indiana Jones after a couple minutes say, maybe I should shoot the eyes, or maybe I should target some sensitive spots. If you say something vague like sensitive spots, that's maybe not as good as just saying maybe I should shoot the eyes after a couple minutes. Or, if you want to make it a bit of a secret and surprise, just have the Kraken react a lot more when they were shot in the eyes instead of just blinking and not really making a sound effect. There should have been a very obvious roar and blood. Sure, in 2003 maybe you wouldn't want to have the Kraken bleeding in the water, but yeah, it would have been very informative to the player if you saw him bleeding when shot in the eye and not bleeding any other time. But even a roar alone would have been good enough. Without that feedback, without that direction, I would have easily spent a lot more time against the Kraken. In fact, I would say that entire back half of the previous level, not very great. Like, just a lot more platforming and a lot of fighting randomly. I could see an argument that to just get rid of the fighting altogether and have a level solely around the idea of platforming. And then that would have sped up the previous level. Particularly now, as it seems like in Hong Kong here, we're going to end up fighting the Triad for longer than I suspect, or longer than I really would have wanted before we get to the Emperor's Tomb. In a lot of ways, it feels like we might even get to the Emperor's Tomb and find out that that is closer to the halfway point of this game, and if that's the case, that would be very weird. Anyways, we've already gone very long, so that's going to be it for this episode. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to support me even further, there's a bunch of links down below in the description box. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.